We appreciate your participation. Today, we're going to hear from 16 or so poets. And I think that we've got an hour, so we should be good. The first one is Ellen Pives, and she's going to be reading a poem entitled Gramps Farm. And the photo was submitted by Green Hill Farm. And so Ellen, please feel free to use from your copy or from the one on the left.
Thank you. Good evening. Gramps Farm, and this is for my grandfathers, Charles S. Evans and Charles E. Thurston. So this is what Gramps Farm has come to. A trendy wagon selling organic flowers to city folks. And there stands Uncle Johnny's boy Charlie in his short pants and smirky smile. At least, Charlie, you didn't sell the farm to that rich insurance guy in cahoots with the bank who was buying up farms and tearing down the houses, the land being just money to him. At least you are living in the old farmhouse, shabby as it is, but still standing. And we gather in the big kitchen for Thanksgiving, cozy still with Graham's cast iron cook stove. And when you had that logger with his shearer and chipper cut the timber to pay the taxes, you said, at least you saved Gramps sugar maples. And now you somehow boil down a good light syrup to sell to your in your movable stall there. Though gone to weeds, you do keep the farm fields open, brush hogging with the old John Deere, saving the milkweed for the monarchs. Organic. No more spraying the cows with DDT to kill the flies. No more bags of chemicals 5-10 cents. No more stinking white dust sprayed on the potato bugs. Even so, you do have some good-looking summer squash there. And in the southeast corner of the further field, along the tall stone wall, under some oak and cherry, each April, the spring beauties still bloom on their own, naturally organic.
Thank you, Ellen. Our next poet is going to be Mary Blom. She'll be reading a composition she entitled Ivan at the Top from a photograph submitted by Meeting House Hill Tree Farm.
Hi. Ivan at the Tap. When I saw this picture of Ivan, I looked at it and I said, trouble is coming. Look at that little boy. Remember the Christmas show with the little boy and he got his tongue stuck on the ice? That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought I'll have fun with this. Ivan at the Tap. Nights are freezing in early March. The days are sunny and warm. Maple trees wake from their winter nap. Time to collect the maple sap. Ivan was 6 when he licked the spout, plugged to the tree called a spile or tap. He is older now, but remembers mother saying, stop, you will have a frozen tongue. She told him the story of olden times when the first people showed how to collect tree sugar and boil it down, making syrup to sweeten their food. His children with wisdom learned to farm together and tap their trees and still admonish their little ones, don't lick the tap like your father Ivan. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Well, I get the honor of introducing myself next. I'm David Balford, live here in New London. And as Nancy said, I'm a member of the John Hay Poetry Society. And I'm going to be reading something I call the Hay Thrasher in Repose. And this was submitted, photo was submitted by the Schroeder Farm. And I saw this, we were going through it, frantically going through pictures, selecting the final candidates, this edition. And I saw this and I said, I need to write about this one. This brought back memories of childhood, a farm, the community where I grew up in Massachusetts. Resting out here in quiet slumber, all caked in rust after years of worthy use. The seat once gleaming from endless buffing by farmer overalls worn threadbare and thin. Abandoned now, but once in glory, busting sod, making hay, giving life to simple farm folk and their kin, who toiled hard through years of strife to earn their thankful living. An empty robin's nest now makes its presence beneath the seat where once the farmer sat, leather reins tightly tapping the rump of his old Bessie, who pulled the tool that plowed the fields, separating wheat from chaff. Grandchildren of the farmer play make-believe pirate ship upon her rusted bones, never thinking of her noble purpose, feeding family, making friends, creating home. The thrasher once provided means for humble folk to make their modest way. Now years and miles and dreams ago, since seemingly better days. Okay, I get to announce Stephen Price, who will read Nothing Runs Like a Deer from Schroeder Farm.
It's Stephen Reddick.
I'm sorry?
Reddick is the last name. Stephen Reddick. Stephen Reddick.
Okay, Stephen Reddick. He's available. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Strike that.
Sorry, call me anything but late for something. All goes on today. Hi, it's a pleasure being here. I got to write, Nothing Runs Like a Deer. The ad said, Nothing runs like a deer, but this was called a gator. Part four-wheel runner, part pickup. Unlike the full-size version that owned part of his barn, this John Deere stayed outside. Loaded with tools, old man Schroeder, Ford baseball cap, plaid shirt, and work boots would ride from one end of his farm to the other, trimming grass, delivering hay, working on the details that keep the farm going. In the past, all was done on foot. Bill had been younger, less motorized. And sometimes, usually near the end of an autumn day, he would see deer holding a meeting near the family apple trees. Because he was so quiet, they didn't even look his way. Now, when steps are painful, Bill seems a little slower. He rides out to the apple trees. The gator makes so much noise, Bill gets a first-hand lesson of nothing runs like a deer as the herd scatters like golden brown leaves of fall blown across the field on a north wind day.
Bill was gonna be here today, but he called me an hour ago because he's playing midwife to his cow. He always has a hard delivery, like breech or something, and he gave us apologies, but that's good precedent.
Such a farmer, yeah.
He's a real farmer.
No, she has something to learn.
Okay. Well, Stephen, thank you very much. That was great. Next, I have the honor of introducing Lowell Winter, who will read composition poem propagate. A photo submitted from Kearsarge Food Hub. Laura?
Ready?
Ready if you are.
Okay. Fortunately, it's short. Where do I stand? Here, there, right there.
You can read it from here, or you can read it from there.
Read it from here.
Well, we want to get you in the camera,
Okay,
okay, so
okay,
please do.
okay. Okay, it's short. Propagate. Young hands gently planting tender green seedlings into dark, rich soil. A silent prayer offered for sun and rain. To nurture growth, no animal will be slain. Gratitude for this water, for this precious food that will provide new life to life soon.
Thank you, Laura. Next is Diana Lee. She's going to be reading something called Sophie's Schooling Sonnet. Photograph submitted by Schroeder Farm.
Everything there was good. I can. When I was at Schroeder's farm, he gave us a tour of the farm. And I saw the cows and they were so beautiful. And one particular cow who was in this picture was smiling.
Is that the?
No, that's not the picture. That looks like a smiling cow. And I said to myself, I'm thinking to myself, she's going to be roast beef in a couple of weeks. I was like, how do I write a poem about this? And then I said, well, I'm going to do a fixed form because this fixed form forces you into a certain pattern. And I chose a Shakespearean sonnet. Sophie's Schooling Sonnet. Hi, I'm Sophie, a Black Angus heifer, full of juicy beefsteaks, chops, and roasts. Born, bred, organically fed, a nourisher of humanity, Schroeder's farm earns boasts. Now, vegans, please don't get too offended. Those roughages you eat have living souls too. We souls live on, we have comprehended, and our bodies mere vessels. We know this is true. Like snowflakes, we descend over and over. Next time I may come back as a bull and graze among the beautiful clover. So make each lifetime experience full. Even your bodies will replenish the earth. But at least now I've taught you about rebirth.
Thank you, Diana Lee. Our next poet is going to be Amber Rose Crowtree. She'll be reading Spring Tones from a photo submitted by Kearsarge Gore Farm.
Hi. Are they not cute? I do not know what to do with them. Just stare at it for hours. So spring tones, sleepy-eyed, cautious, yet sun smiling, regardless of this winter's clanging snow, balancing together on the edge of warmth, and the sweet scent of hay and each other. Sunshine and breakfast prompt the hour. What better communion to greet a cold day than the multi-woolen faces of spring lands?
Thank you, Amber Rose. Okay, next one is the next poet is going to be Kathleen Schulman. She'll be reading Milk from Carton Seems Simple from a photograph submitted by Sanctuary Farm.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you in particular to Diana Lee and Nancy for all your hard work. When I saw this picture, I started to think about the relationship between farmers and their animals and kind of where did it all begin. And so I invite you to take a little trip with me back about 9,000 to 10,000 years. Milk from cartons seems simple. Milk traces on pottery shards map 9,000 years of dairy consumption. Turkeys agrarian herded cattle across Europe, England, Ireland. Farmers unearthed Irish bog butter crafted in the Bronze Age, mossy undertones, evidence of dairy's role in human history. Captain Prince in 1831 transported 2 heifers and 1 bull Guernsey to Cow Island in Lake Winnipesaukee. Today, New Hampshire farmers continue to run small herds, raise their own feed crops. Small-scale dairy farms protect open spaces. Today's remaining 96 farms provide recreation, secure a local food source, and shore up New Hampshire's main source of revenue, the tourist industry. New Hampshire farmers earn 40 cents a gallon less than it costs to produce milk. Consumers are turning to non-dairy products for protein. Agribusiness undercuts their revenues. No producer wants to dump their milk that can't be sold. Farm families do what they've done for centuries. Turn to their neighbors to buy directly from the farm. Donate to food banks. Produce small batch cheeses. Serve up produce at farmers markets. Scoop homemade ice cream. We hold the fate of local farms in our hands. Will we support our farmers? Buy from those that till our land. Produce local food. Conserve open landscapes and protect our way of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Our next poet is Liz Jones. She'll be reading a composition called A Trio Bovine. Photos sent in from Sanctuary Farm.
A trio bovine. 3 besties on the hoof. We live moment by blissful moment. Each sunrise brings new adventures, whether they begin with sparkling dew or brisk frost. Freshly milked, we feel lithesome, springing forth from the barn like calves, ears wiggling, tails undulating to the cadence of our gleeful steps. Meandering through these bounteous hillsides, we take the time to relish the beauty and birdsong all around us, cast about for the hidden treasures of the fields, munch the grasses, forgotten apples, and dandelions, or find sunny patches to share with the clouds and butterflies. However far we stray, carefully placed fences ensure we never lose our way home, and our favorite tidbits ever await our daily perusal. At twilight, the farmer's call and warm light of the barn beckon us toward more Epicurean delights and soft, fluffy hay. The farmer kindly relieves us of the milky burdens we have accumulated throughout our bucolic promenade, so we can relax in comfort, snuggling safely in sisterly satisfaction.
Thank you, Liz. Our next poet is Cynthia Jones. She's going to read First Crop from a photo submitted by Kearsarge Food Hub.
First crop. Radish seeds held close as children, cross the fierce sea, climb the wild wooded hills. Next season's food, thumb pressed into a scratched out patch of rocky soil. Like the settlers who plant, send their white roots deep. Radishes, green leaves grown, loosened and pulled, holding clumps of dark earth, summer's first crop. Plump ruby globes, each crisp bite, tangy and sharp, draws in the breath. Drives the new world dream, the hunger for more.
Thank you, Cynthia. Liz Tentorelli will be our next poet. She'll be reading A Perfect Peach, a love story from Green Hill Farm.
I've always thought that peaches, not apples, were in the Garden of Eden to tempt Eve. Think of the peach, feel it, the softness of it, that very living feeling, the scent of it, the warmth of it. So when I saw this photo of the bushel basket of peaches, the bushel basket kind of took me back to my childhood. I don't know that we see those very often, but it's the peach. You know, Eve had a plan there when she picked that. And in the typical love story, boy meets girl, boy marries girl, etc. The girl has a role. The perfect peach, a love story. The perfect peach is just a notion, but the bushel basket is real, filled with almost perfect peaches. Ripe, but still firm, smelling of sunshine in the orchard where the perfect boy has taken off his hat, letting his cowlick spring up as he smiles his thanks to the girl in gingham for the dipper of cool water. The perfect peach is just a dream, but the peach pie is real. Flaky crust to catch the eye of the perfect boy at the Grange Hall social on Saturday night, when the perfectly full moon tempts even the shy couples to stroll hand in hand down to the riverbank and maybe steal a kiss. The perfect peach is just a story, but the canning kettle is real. Fragrant steam swirling through the open windows as the perfect girl stirs the hot peach jam, adding the perfect pinch of spice so that a winter's morning will echo summer's perfection when the bride spreads a perfect slice of freshly baked bread with perfect peach jam for her new husband's breakfast. David. Sorry, we had some people come in late, we don't miss them.
Apologize for the shuffling of the schedule. Natalie Davis apparently will be the next reader, next poet. I don't have anything else. Natalie, if you would not mind identifying your piece and where it came from, that would be much appreciated. Okay.
I guess I'm Natalie come lately. The poem is a piece, as you can see. I have to tell you the part of the process sometimes with poetry is you write. I had written more, and this is very short, which I had written other verses and I didn't like them. So I stuck only with very short piece. And I hope you will enjoy my short piece. Peas. Cool air enfolds her. She opens the pod. The peas dance into the pan.
Natalie, thank you for that short and sweet. I think I've finally got my bearings again, so I'm going to invite Dan Allen to read next. Dan is going to be reading something called Mowing, a photograph submitted by Beaver Pond Farm.
Mowing. First, you need to know the size needs to be sharp. In your back pocket, there should be a size stone. Invert the size, put the stone back across the blade with a downward cant, alternating sides. Now swing the handle with the blade just above the ground, sharp edge leading. One swing ain't had many swings is labor. Don't trip when mowing. Keep your switchel on hand. Your swath should be about one man, I say 6 feet. Rake dry hay in rows with a hay fork. Pitch hay onto the wagon where one man builds a load. Horse knows the pace. It's an art. If you want to look up switchel, you can find it in Wikipedia.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. Pat Whitney will be reading next. The piece is called Putting Down Roots. And the photo was submitted from the Kearsarge Food Hub. So, Pat Whitney.
When I saw this photo, all I could think of was the commitment that farmers make to the land. So, putting down roots. Putting down roots is a vow. It's saying I do to the land with love, honor, and respect. A promise to weed and to nourish in good times and in drought. Protect from frost and replant after flood, despite any invasion of blight or pest, amidst bounty and bloom, hail or rainbow, to thin and to stake, in dust and in mud, sinking into the soil, not just our hands, but everything we have bought and borrowed, hoping toward harvest, not merely to survive, but to flourish from this day forward and as long as we all might grow.
Thank you, Pat. The next poet is Bill Tye. We'll be reading Nature's Harvest from photographs submitted by Green Hill Farm.
Nature's harvest. We sow, we reap, we cultivate. Thus the results truly are first rate. The harvest comes but once per year, brings tasty garden products we hold dear. Enjoy the flavors, whichever they may be. Mother Nature serves us well, we all agree. Mushrooms, corn, onions, and tomatoes, apples, pears, peppers, and potatoes. Appreciate nature's ways, serving us well, our yearly harvest on which we dwell.
Thank you, Bill. Next poet is Joan Doran. She'll be reading What If There Were No Apple Trees? It's photograph submitted by Beaver Pond Farm.
I imagine that one of the first things every family did after they got the land cleared hundreds of years ago when they were settling our state, one of the things they first did after they put up their log cabin, after they found a source of water, was to plant, I think, an apple tree. Because how in heaven's name could you get along without apples? I thought about that when I was considering that the Beaver Pond Farm has been in existence since 1780, when the land was first cleared. And I imagine there was an apple tree there. And the apples that were planted in this particular orchard are the descendants of apples that were there 100 years ago. So this is something that is not normally celebrated as part of farming per se, but is certainly a part of farm life. And certainly apples are so intrinsic to our own lives and our own enjoyment of the food that's grown on our land. And that's why I wrote, what if there were no apple trees? What if there were no apple trees? No line of green along this rise, no gnarled trunks, no simple leaves. What if there were no apple trees? What if there was no rising green? What if this verdant field were bare? What if there were no apple trees? What would that barren absence mean? What if this verdant field were bare instead of lined with limbs that reach? What would that barren absence mean if only grass and stones were there? In spring, there'd be no bridal lace, no perfumed breeze, no thrum of bees, no tiny globes with blossoms print. Were there no apples in this place? No perfumed breeze, no bees winged drone, no apples promised for the fall, no apples rising from this place, their fulsome graces all unknown. No apples harvested in fall. No apple cider, cheddared pie. Such fulsome graces never known. Their bounteous gifts not given at all. But reaching from these sweet-limbed trees are gifts to those our eyes can't see. Those generations still unknown. What if there were no apple trees?
Thank you, Jim, for that lovely introduction and beautiful poem. The next presenter, the next poet, Nancy Marascio. She'll be reading Before the Fall, photograph submitted by Field Farm.
60. My first impression, how about that? That's it. My first impression when I saw this picture was the contrast between the so carefully controlled human elements and the so wild nature parts. And so I tried to stay with that without too heavy a hand, because there's a moral to that, obviously. Before the fall, hands crafted wood-slatted trailers, planted chosen seeds, scattered welcoming pumpkins. Human touches seek to order harvest pending urgency. Purple tumbles of flowers edge differently, essential shadings of green, brown. Centered sun muted by rainbow clouds lights the landscape. One deeply rooted tree bends against, over, ancient stones become wall. Cradles within its greenery a single dying leaf. Beneath, pooled water reflects colors of clouds, dark branches, revealing nothing of its own inner depths. From treetops perch crow with accepting gaze, oversees all that promise.
Thank you, Nancy. We're actually at the last, should say the final poet we will present. It's gone fast. I hope you enjoyed this afternoon spent with the poets and the photographs, the lovely photographs submitted by the various farms and farmers. And I want to thank each and every one of you who participated, and as well as the farms that submitted pictures. And thank you all for attending. This has been a lovely episode. I'm sorry?
One more poet.
Getting to that. Give me a second.
Oh, Rich, who did you call?
I didn't call anyone, but I will. I'm about to call Cheryl Atherton Crow, who will read Potatoes Bountiful Harvest from Kearsarge Gore Farm. I'm done.
Sorry about that.
Gotcha. No worries. Okay, here. Here. Yep. There we go. Handle is on the way. No worries. No worries.
I was delighted to be sent this picture because my dad always had a garden every single year, and it was huge. He would come home from work, eat supper immediately, which my mother had ready the moment he came through the door, and he'd change his clothes and come down and work until dark. And he took particular pride in his potatoes. And I also was interested in hearing the poem that the gentleman read about the scythe. Because Daddy always had a scythe stone in his back pocket and a handkerchief that looked more like a flag than a handkerchief, because he would always get hot when he was working. But it just took me back years. Potatoes' bountiful harvest. It's mid-fall, judging by the foliage. Many modest-sized tan and round pieces are lying on a fertile prepared field, waiting to be picked up. It is a lovely fall day, just beautiful, a perfect day for picking potatoes. My dad planted potatoes in our annual garden. Some would grow to be huge. Then my mom would bake one potato, and there would be enough for each of the four of us. They were about like this. Someday I'm going to try hard to choose the right date because I want to see the potato blossoms again. I'll go up to the county, a rustic by name, in northern Maine. Potatoes are a bit quirky. The flowers that precede the potatoes are white and grow on the plant above ground. The potatoes grow underground on the roots and must be carefully dug up for harvest. The potatoes do not follow and take the place of the flowers as apples and cherries and berries do. I can still remember and hear the crunch of biting into a raw potato after I'd wiped the dirt off on my jeans. I see Daddy slowly and carefully use the fork to dig them up. He works slowly and carefully, or else each potato would be full of holes from the fork. Each one of those holes would ultimately rot, and the whole potato was soon involved. I also remember how he taught me how to cut a potato, to have it become a seed potato and all ready to plant. What a wonderful memory to discover again as a surprise. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, for that lovely remembrance. Lovely.
Thank you for the opportunity.
That completes the presentation. Now we come to the part of the program we get to the Q&A. We've got questions. I'd be glad to field them. I won't pretend that I can answer them, but maybe we can get an answer for you. So anyone, do you have any questions or thoughts or comments of the presentation of the poets, photographs, farms, farming? Yes, sir.
David, how long does it take to put together? In other words, from picture to poem, do you meet on like a regular basis, or how long a period of time does it take?
I could give you my answer to that. The question was, how long does it take to put together one of these? And I was only fortunate enough to be in on the fifth and latest one. And I can tell you it took us several months of a lot of communication between farms and farmers, photographers, meeting to go over photographs, and then grooming all of it to come up with this format. So that's my perspective on that. Does anyone else want to comment on that? Anyone who's part of that process?
Well, just one comment. We usually work about a year ahead to get the idea for the next one, and we bat that around for a while. So it takes a while. What we're trying to do is identify the various aspects of life here that distinguish this particular area of New Hampshire. and try then to put a spotlight on that. And so, yes, it takes us then some months of active work to put the thing together, but it is a process that takes a while. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, give them to us.
Yeah, we're already in the active planning process for the next
Next.
presentation, so stay tuned and stay active. If you'd like to participate in this, let us know. Nancy, you're first.
I just wanted to say, we take a long time doing the title. The subtitle is sort of prosaic, farming in the Lake Sunapee region. That doesn't satisfy poets. So, you know, Lake Sunapee was the ripple effect. So you can do metaphorical things. This one is rooted in New Hampshire. And so it takes us longer than you would think it should. That's to do the title.
It's almost like a pregnancy. You plant the seed of the idea, and then matures. So that we give birth to the book in about it takes a good year. Joe was right from start to giving birth to the book.
Yeah, one who visited the waiting room rather than the other part. I can concur. It takes a lot of effort. Yes, in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that for anyone who's not aware of it, we're a poetry group that meets on a monthly basis. So, and we're writing, and Diane gives us, many times gives us something to get us going and something to write on. And I think that's important because we know each other and it gives us opportunity. I think for some of us who've never not written poetry on a rather regular basis, it gets us into writing that way, which is extremely important.
I'd just like to say that I think this is the best visual verse publication.
Yeah.
Good job of putting it together. I love the photography. The poems, I think, are getting better and better. You know, you listen and you say, hey, that's good. But if you read them over again, there's a lot in them.
There is a lot. There is a lot.
You can see there's a lot of meaning, you know, with the writers.
Right.
And it's just, I'm proud of you guys. You've done a really good job.
You say we guys.
Yes.
We guys, yeah.
All the John Hay poets, I think they're superb.
Here, here.
One thing I'd like to emphasize is that you too can be a John Hay poet if you're not. It's open to everybody. There are no dues. There's nothing involved except choosing if you wish to write a poem, and otherwise you're a member and you define it the way you want to. So anybody who isn't a member and wants to be, come on aboard. Well, I guess the thing to do is get in touch with Diana Lee.
Right. If anybody wants, just contact me at my email and I'll put you on the mailing list.
Or you want to class. Or you want to mention the class.
Or when you meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts? Any final comments? Yes.
So are past editions available for purchase, or
Say again.
are past editions available for purchase? These.
Well, these, so there were actually, the ones we brought for the sale are over there on the left. Please help yourself.
Ellen just asked me to talk about the class I'll be teaching at AIL.
Do you want to come up here?
I'm going to be teaching a fixed verse, formal verse class at AIL. It's on Thursday, 1:30 to 3:30. And it'll be all fixed form poetry. It'll be writing in class and getting assignments back home.
I just signed up.
And there's still spots available.
There's a number of people in here that just have signed up, so it should be good. Well, again, I want to thank you all. This has been a delightful way to spend a late spring or spring afternoon anyway. And hopefully you'll come the next time we present this and we'll do it again. So thank you.
Thank you.